is Samantha Simon, and today we will be talking about Meniere's disease. Before we go into the disease, this is the anatomy and also physiological function of the ear. Now, as you can see here, this is the pinna, or is known as the outer ear. They catch sound waves and direct them through the ear canal and into the protected middle ear. This part over here is the external auditory canal. They channel sound waves from the pinna and into the eardrums. Next up, we got the eardrums, or as also known as the tympanic membrane. They separate the outer ear from the middle ear, and they also vibrate when sound waves reaches them. The semicircular canals are three tiny fluid-filled tubes in the inner ear that helps us to keep our balance. The cochlea contains a spiral organ, which is the receptor organ for hearing. They translate the fluid vibrations into electrical impulses that are carried to the brain by sensory nerves. Last but not least, this part here is the eustachian tube. They equalizes the pressure between the middle ear and also the atmosphere, and they also facilitate sufficient drainage from the middle ear. Next up, as you can see here, this is a healthy inner ear, while this is the inner ear of a person with the disease. Meniere's disease usually affects only one side of the ear. So, what are the symptoms? First of all, the symptoms usually comes in episodes or attacks. The first symptoms over here is vertigo or dizziness, with attacks lasting anywhere from a few minutes to 24 hours. Next up is loss of hearing in the affected ear. Tinnitus, or the sensation of ringing in the affected ear. Oral fullness, or the feeling that the ear is full or plugged, or also congestion in the ear. Last but not least, loss of balance and also headaches. Diagnostic. So to detect this disease, doctors will usually conduct a few assessments, such as the hearing assessment. So this assessment assesses how well one detects sounds at a different pitch and volumes. People with this disease usually have problem hearing low pitches or low frequency sounds, or low and high frequencies combined together. Next, doctors also will conduct electrocochleography, which is a test that looks at the inner ear in response to sounds. This might help to see if there's any abnormal buildup of fluid in the inner ear. Next is the vestibular evoked myogenic potentials, or VEMP testings. This test shows the characteristic changes in the affected ear of people with Meniere's disease. Other than those testing, doctors will usually conduct a few more tests to rule out any other conditions that could be similar with the disease. So one of the tests to rule out other conditions are blood tests and imaging scans, such as treatments to treat Meniere's disease. So first up, we have the non-invasive therapies and also procedures. So an example of those therapies are rehabilitation. If one has balance problems between episodes of vertigo, they can opt to have this rehabilitation therapy that might improve their balance. And a person with Meniere's disease can also opt to have a hearing aid, which helps to improve the hearing in the affected ear. Other than the non-invasive therapies and procedures, we also have surgery procedures. An example of those surgeries are the endolymphatic sac procedure. The endolymphatic sac plays a role in regulating the inner ear fluid levels. During the procedure, this sac is decompressed, which can alleviate the excess fluid levels in the inner ear. In some cases, this procedure is coupled with the placement of a shunt, which is a tube that drains excess fluid from the inner ear. And a last treatment that a person with the disease could opt for is the middle ear injections. One of the things that will be injected into the middle ear is steroids. Steroids help to control vertigo attacks in some people. Of Meniere's disease, and thank you for listening.